The fluorescent lights buzzed overhead in the empty corridor of St. Michael's Memorial Hospital. Third shift. The graveyard hours when most of the world slept, Sarah Mitchell walked through the hallway with quiet purpose. Her blue scrubs were unremarkable. Her ponytail was simple. Everything about her screamed ordinary. The other nurses barely noticed her anymore. She'd been working nights for 3 years. Always punctual. Always competent. Never causing problems, Dr. Reynolds passed her without a word. He was the head of the emergency department. Arrogant. Dismissive. He'd made it clear what he thought of night shift nurses. Coffee runners, he'd called them once. Babysitters, until the real doctors arrive. Sarah had just smiled. She was used to being underestimated. She entered the nurses' station and checked the patient board. 17 beds occupied. Nothing unusual. A quiet night, her pager remained silent on her hip. The special one. The one that hadn't gone off in 22 months. She preferred it that way. "Hey, Sarah." It was Jennifer, the younger nurse. Eager, fresh out of school. "Can you show me how to set up the cardiac monitor again?" Of course, Sarah's voice was patient. Warm. She taught Jennifer the procedure step by step. No rushing. No judgment. Just steady guidance. If you're enjoying this story, subscribe to Silent Badge Stories for more tales of hidden heroes in plain sight. The emergency room doors burst open at 2:47 a.m. 2 paramedics rushed in with a gurney. A man in his 50s. Gunshot wound to the chest. Blood soaked through the bandages. "GSW upper right quadrant," the lead paramedic shouted. "BP dropping. He's crashing." Dr. Reynolds appeared, looking disheveled. He'd been sleeping in the on-call room. "Get him to trauma bay, too," he ordered. The team moved fast. Sarah was already there, pulling on gloves, setting up the 4 lines. Her movements were precise, efficient. "We need O-negative." 4 units, Reynolds called out. "Already on the way," Sarah replied calmly. Reynolds glanced at her, surprised. Then he turned back to the patient. The man on the table was losing blood fast. His skin was pale, lips turning blue. "He's not responding," Jennifer said, her voice shaking. Reynolds worked frantically. Chest compressions. Medications pushed through the IV. Nothing was working. "Time of death. 3:14 a.m., he finally said. The room fell silent. Then Sarah noticed something. The man's hand. 3 fingers were bent at an odd angle. Not from injury. It was a signal. Her blood ran cold. She leaned closer. Checked his carotid pulse. It was there. Faint but present. "Doctor, he still has a pulse," she said quietly. Reynolds turned. "What? That's impossible." "I already called it. Check again." He pressed his fingers to the man's neck. His eyes widened. "How did I miss that?" "We need to move him to surgery now," Sarah said. Her voice had changed. It carried authority now. Command. Reynolds stared at her for a moment, then nodded. As they rushed the patient toward the operating room, Sarah's pager vibrated. The special one. She glanced down at the screen. Code. Black facility lockdown. Asset in play. Her jaw tightened. 22. Months of quiet nights were over. She reached into her locker as they passed the staff room. Her fingers found the item hidden in the back. A small black case. She slipped it into her pocket. No one noticed. They never did. The patient was wheeled into surgery. Reynolds scrubbed in. The surgical team assembled. Sarah stood in the observation room above, watching, waiting. Her phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. The asset knows. "Extraction team is 15 minutes out. Keep him alive." Sarah's eyes never left the operating table below 15 minutes. She could do that. She'd done much harder. Things in places much darker than this. But then the hospital's main power flickered once, twice. The backup generators kicked in, and Sarah knew this wasn't just an extraction. This was something bigger. The doors to the surgical wing locked automatically. Security protocol. But this wasn't hospital security. through the window. Sarah saw the first black SUV pull into the emergency bay, then another, then another. Men in tactical gear emerged. Moving with military precision, Reynolds looked up from the operating table, confused. "What's going on?" he shouted. Sarah was already moving. Her quiet night was about to become very loud. Sarah moved through the surgical wing with purpose. The tactical teams were spreading through the hospital. She could hear their boots, heavy. Synchronized, the other staff members were panicking. "What's happening?" Jennifer grabbed Sarah's arm. "Who were those people?" "Stay calm," Sarah said. "Go to the staff lounge. Lock the door. Don't come out until I tell you. But now, Jennifer." Something in Sarah's voice made the younger nurse obey without question. Sarah reached the surgical observation room. Below, Dr. Reynolds was still operating. He hadn't noticed the commotion yet. The soundproofing kept the OR isolated. Her phone buzzed again. Hostile forces in the building. Asset compromised. Rules of engagement: protect at all costs. Sarah's fingers moved to the small black case in her pocket. She opened it. Inside was a badge. Federal. High clearance. And a small earpiece. She fitted it into her ear and pressed the activation button. Static crackled. Then a voice. Male. Authoritative. "Sentinel, this is command." "Confirm status." Sentinel confirmed. Sarah replied quietly. "Asset is in surgery. Condition critical, but stable. Hostile count. Minimum 8 targets. Possibly more. They breached the perimeter 3 minutes ago. Extraction team ETA, 12 minutes. Can you hold?" Sarah looked down at the operating room, at Dr. Reynolds working frantically, at the patient whose life hung by a thread. "I can hold," she said. She moved to the supply closet, found what she needed. Surgical scissors, heavy tape, a defibrillator cart, not weapons, but they would have to do. The first hostile appeared at the end of the hallway, dressed in hospital scrubs, but the bulge under his jacket wasn't medical equipment. Sarah stepped out of the observation room. "Excuse me," she called out. "This wing is closed for emergency surgery. You'll need to use the east corridor." The man turned toward her. His hand moved toward his jacket. "I said this wing is closed." Sarah's voice was steel now. The man pulled out a pistol. Silencer attached. Sarah was already moving. She grabbed the defibrillator cart and shoved it hard. It rolled fast. Crashed into the man's legs. He stumbled. The gun fired. The shot went wide. Buried itself in the ceiling tile. Sarah closed the distance in 2 strides. Her hand struck his wrist. A precise blow. The gun clattered to the floor. Her elbow caught his throat. He went down, gasping. She zip-tied his hands with the medical tape. Fast, efficient. "1 down," she said into the earpiece. "Copy that, Sentinel. 7 more." Sarah dragged the unconscious man into a supply closet. Locked it. Then she heard shouting from the main corridor. Dr. Reynolds had finally noticed. The surgery was interrupted. He stood in the doorway of the OR, still in his surgical gown. "Blood on his gloves? What is going on?" he demanded. 2 more hostiles appeared behind him, dressed as orderlies, but their eyes were cold. Professional. "Doctor, get back inside," Sarah said calmly. "What do you think you are, too?" The hostiles raised their weapons. Sarah moved without thinking. Years of training took over. She grabbed a metal tray from the crash cart, threw it hard. It struck the first hostile in the face. He fell backward. The second one fired. The bullet missed Sarah by inches. Shattered a glass cabinet. Reynolds dove for cover. Finally understanding this wasn't a drill, Sarah swept the second hostile's legs. He went down hard. She disarmed him with a move that was definitely not in any nursing manual. 2 more down, she reported. "Sentinel, the extraction team is encountering resistance outside. ETA now 15 minutes. Sarah looked at Reynolds. He was staring at her like he'd never seen her before. "You're not just a nurse," he whispered. "Right now, I'm whatever keeps that patient alive." Sarah pointed to the operating room. "Can you finish the surgery?" "Yes. But who are you?" Someone who needs you to trust me. Get back in there. Complete the procedure. I'll handle the rest. Reynolds hesitated, then nodded. He returned to the OR. Sarah's earpiece crackled again. Sentinel, we have a problem. They've locked down the entire hospital. Electronic override. We can't get the doors open from outside. What about the roof? Negative. They have shooters posted. This was planned. They knew the asset would be here. Sarah's mind raced. 8 hostiles. Maybe more. Locked building. No immediate backup. And one patient who couldn't be moved for at least another 10 minutes. She looked down at the unconscious men at her feet. Checked their weapons. Glock 19s, standard. She took both pistols. Checked the magazines. 30 rounds total. It would have to be enough. The lights flickered again. This time, they stayed off for 5 seconds before the generators kicked in. Someone was testing the systems. Looking for weaknesses, Sarah moved through the surgical wing, checking doors, windows, sightlines. The hospital had been her workplace for 3 years. She knew every corridor, every exit, every hiding spot. Now it was a battlefield. She heard movement on the floor below, boots on linoleum. At least 3 people. They were sweeping the building, room by room, looking for the asset, looking for the man on Dr. Reynolds. Operating table. Sarah pressed her back against the wall, controlled her breathing, listened. The footsteps grew closer. She counted 1, 2, 3. 3 targets. Stairwell approach. She had the high ground. The element of surprise and absolutely no margin for error. The first hostile appeared at the top of the stairs. Sarah didn't hesitate. This was what she'd been trained for. In places far from this hospital, in situations far worse than this, she was a night shift nurse. But before that, she'd been something else entirely, and those skills never left you. No matter how long you tried to forget, the hostile at the top of the stairs never saw her coming. Sarah struck from the side. A calculated blow to the temple. He crumpled without a sound. The second hostile turned. Weapon rising too slow. Sarah's foot connected with his wrist. The gun flew from his grip. Skittered across the polished floor. She followed with a palm strike to his chest. He gasped. Stumbled backward into the third hostile. Both men fell. Tangled together on the stairs, Sarah moved. Down, fast, efficient. She disarmed the third. Hostile before he could recover. 3 more zip-tied and dragged into an empty patient room. 5 down, she reported. 3 remaining. Copy. Sentinel. Extraction team is breaching the perimeter now. Hold for 8 minutes. 8 minutes. An eternity in combat time. Sarah checked her watch. Reynolds had been operating for 6 minutes. The patient needed at least 4 more minutes of surgery. Maybe 5. The math was tight. She moved back toward the surgical observation room. Checked the monitors. The patient's vitals were stabilizing. Reynolds was good. Better than good. He just had no idea what he was operating on, or rather who. Sarah's earpiece crackled. A new voice. Female. Cold. 2. Whoever is protecting Asset 7, this is your only warning. Surrender him now, and you walk away. Sarah didn't respond. We know you're listening. We know you're federal. This is bigger than you. Bigger than your agency. Walk away. Still silence from Sarah. We have 50 pounds of C4 in the basement. We'll bring this whole building down. All these innocent people. Their blood will be on your hands. Sarah's jaw tightened. She pressed the transmit button. This is Sentinel. If you had C4, you'd have used it already. You need the asset alive, which means you're trapped just like me. The difference is, I'm winning. Pause on the other end. Then you've taken down 5 of my team. Impressive for a nurse. But we still have 3. And we know exactly where you are. The line went dead. Sarah moved immediately. Changed positions. The observation room was compromised. She headed for the staff locker room. opened her locker. Behind her spare scrubs was something else, something she'd hoped she'd never need again. A tactical vest, lightweight Kevlar dash reinforced. She pulled it on under her scrub top. It fit perfectly, like it had never left, because part of her had always known. The quiet life was temporary. The past always came back. Footsteps in the corridor. Heavy, deliberate Sarah pressed herself into the shadowed corner between two lockers. The door opened slowly. A man entered. Tactical gear. Professional stance. He swept the room with his weapon. Sarah waited, breathing shallow. Completely still, the man moved deeper into the room, checking each row of lockers. When he turned his back, Sarah moved. She came out of the shadows like a ghost, her arm locked around his throat. A textbook rear chokehold, he struggled. Tried to bring his weapon around. Sarah applied pressure. Precise, controlled. He went limp in 7 seconds. She lowered him to the floor, zip-tied, disarmed. 6 down, she whispered. 2 to go. Sentinel, we have eyes on the building. Thermal imaging shows 2 hostiles. 3rd floor, moving toward the surgical wing.
That confirmed.
I'm on it. Sarah moved through the hospital like water, silent, flowing around obstacles. Using every shadow, she could hear them now. The last 2 hostiles, moving as a pair, smart, harder to take down. They were approaching the surgical wing from opposite ends. A pincer movement, Sarah had to split them up. She grabbed a fire extinguisher from the wall, pulled the pin, threw it hard down the east corridor. It clattered, loud, echoing. One of the hostiles moved to investigate. The pair split up. Perfect. Sarah shadowed the first one. Waited until he passed a supply closet. She pulled him backward into the darkness. He tried to shout. Her hand covered his mouth. Another rear choke. Another unconscious body. One left. Sarah emerged from the closet. The final hostile was standing at the entrance to the surgical wing, looking at his watch. Then he reached into his jacket. Not for a weapon, for a radio detonator. Sarah's blood ran cold. They did have explosives. All units, this is final warning, the man said into his radio. If the asset is not delivered in 60 seconds, I detonate. Sarah stepped out into the corridor, both hands visible. No weapons. Don't, she said simply. The man turned, saw her, smiled. The night nurse. You've caused us a lot of trouble. You don't want to do this. Actually, I do. See, dead or alive, we get paid. And you've made this personal. His thumb moved toward the detonator button. Sarah's hand went to her pocket. Not for a weapon. For her phone, she pressed a pre-programmed sequence. The hospital's emergency sprinkler system activated. All at once. Every floor, water poured from the ceiling. The hostile looked up. Surprised, Sarah moved. Closed the distance in 3 strides. Her strike was precise. Targeted. His hand opened reflexively. The detonator fell. Sarah caught it mid-air. The man lunged for her. She sidestepped. Used his momentum against him. He crashed into the wall. Hard. Sarah's knee found his stomach. Her elbow found his jaw. He dropped. She zip-tied him. Secured the detonator. Then spoke into her earpiece.
All hostiles neutralized.
7 detained. Building is secure. Copy that, Sentinel. Extraction team is entering now. Medical team with them. What's the status of the asset? Sarah looked through the observation window. Dr. Reynolds was closing. The surgery was complete. Asset is stable. Surgery successful. Outstanding work, Sentinel. Sarah heard the main doors breach. Boots rushing in, professional, organized, federal tactical teams. Real ones this time. She removed her earpiece, pulled off the tactical vest, stuffed it back in her locker. When the first federal agent reached the surgical wing, he found a nurse in wet scrubs. Standing calmly, hands folded. Ma'am, we need you to evacuate, the agent said. I'm the charge nurse for this floor. I'm not leaving my patient. The agent looked confused. Then his earpiece crackled. He listened. His eyes widened. He stood straighter, almost at attention. My apologies, ma'am. I didn't realize. It's fine. Sarah's voice was gentle again. Just doing my job? The agent nodded. Moved past her. Dr. Reynolds emerged from the OR, exhausted, confused, soaking wet from the sprinklers. Sarah. What? Who? I don't understand any of this. You saved a life tonight, doctor. That's all that matters. But those men, the guns, you fought them. He trailed off. Staring at her, Sarah just smiled. The same patient smile she always wore. The federal agents will want to debrief you. Tell them what you saw. Answer their questions. Then go home and forget this ever happened. How can I forget this? How can I forget that you're a nurse? Sarah interrupted. I'm just a nurse, Dr. Reynolds. She walked away. Down the corridor. Past the federal agents. Past the detained hostiles. Back to the quiet of the night shift. But she knew it wasn't over. The real questions were just beginning. The federal agents secured the building floor by floor. Sarah watched from the nurse's station. Her scrubs were still damp from the sprinklers. Jennifer emerged from the staff lounge. Her eyes were red from crying. Sarah, are you okay? I heard gunshots, and then the alarms, and I'm fine. Everyone's safe. But what happened? Who were those men? Before Sarah could answer, 3 agents in suits approached. The lead agent was tall. Sharp eyes. FBI windbreaker. We need to speak with you, he said to Sarah. Privately, Jennifer looked between them, confused, scared. Go check on the patients, Sarah told her gently. Make sure everyone's calm. Jennifer nodded. Hurried away, Sarah followed the agents to an empty conference room. They closed the door. Pulled the blinds. That was impressive work, the lead agent said. 7 hostiles. No casualties. Textbook. I did what was necessary. You did more than that. You executed a solo defensive operation that should have required a full tactical team. He paused. Colonel Mitchell. Sarah's expression didn't change. I haven't used that rank in 3 years, but you still have it. And clearly, you still have the skills. The patient, Sarah said. Who is he? The agent hesitated, then pulled out a tablet. Showed her a photo. The man on the operating table. But younger. In uniform. Military. High decoration. Colonel Marcus Webb. Army Intelligence. He was tracking a weapons trafficking network. Got too close. They tried to kill him tonight. Why here? Why my hospital? Because you're here. The agent's voice was quiet. He requested this facility specifically. He knew if things went wrong, you'd be his best chance. Sarah's jaw tightened. Webb knows who I am? Knows of you. Your reputation. Even after you retired, people talk. The mission in Kandahar. The extraction in Yemen. You're a legend, Colonel. I'm a nurse now. That's what makes you dangerous. Sarah stood. Is there anything else? The hospital administrator is outside. So is the chief of surgery. They're demanding answers. We told them this was a federal matter, classified, but they want to know why their hospital was turned into a war zone. Tell them the truth. A patient was targeted. Federal agents responded. Threat neutralized, and your role. I assisted as needed. The agent almost smiled. That's one way to put it. They opened the door. The hospital administrator was there, Dr. Patricia Chen. Stern by the book, she looked furious. Behind her was Dr. Reynolds and the chief of surgery, Dr. Marcus Stone. Stone was tall, silver-haired, intimidating. Agent Rodriguez, Chen said sharply, I want answers. Now, this hospital has protocols. We have patients. We have families. And we just had armed men running through our corridors. The situation has been contained, Dr. Chen. We're grateful for your staff's cooperation. Cooperation. Your people locked down my entire facility. We couldn't get patients in or out. Do you know how many ambulances we had to divert? Stone stepped forward. His eyes found Sarah. And you. Reynolds tells me you were involved in subduing the intruders. Is that true? Sarah met his gaze. I did what any nurse would do. Protect her patients. Any nurse? Stone's voice was skeptical. Reynolds says you moved like a soldier. Fought like one. I'm trained in crisis management. Crisis management doesn't include disarming armed men. It does when those men threaten your patients. Stone studied her. I've been chief of surgery here for 12 years. I've never noticed you. You work nights. You keep your head down. You're invisible. That's how I prefer it. Why? Sarah didn't answer. Chen interrupted. We need more than vague assurances. Was this a terrorist attack? Are we in danger? No danger, Rodriguez said. The threat was specific to one patient. That patient is now under federal protection. Your hospital is secure. I want a full written report. That won't be possible. This is a matter of national security. What? Chen's face reddened. This is my hospital. I have a right. The conference room door opened. Another agent entered. Young, nervous. Sir, we have a situation. Rodriguez turned. What kind of situation? There's a helicopter landing on the roof. Military, Blackhawk. They didn't request clearance. They just came. Everyone froze. What's their identification? Rodriguez asked. The agent swallowed. They're not saying sir. They just said they're here for the colonel. All eyes turned to Sarah. She closed her eyes. Took a breath. She'd known this moment would come. Eventually, she'd just hoped it would be later. Much later. I need to go to the roof, she said quietly. Who's on that helicopter? Stone demanded. Someone I used to know? That's not an answer. Sarah looked at him. For the first time, her mask slipped. Just for a moment. That helicopter is here because what happened tonight wasn't random. It was a test. And I passed a test for what? To see if I'm still who I used to be. She walked past them. Toward the elevator. Rodriguez followed. Colonel, wait. You don't have to. Yes, I do. The elevator doors close. Sarah stood alone in the small space. Watched the floor numbers climb. 3, 4, 5. The hospital only had 6 floors. The roof access was at the end of the 6th-floor corridor. The doors opened. The sound of rotor blades was deafening even through the walls. Sarah pushed through the roof access door. Wind whipped her hair. The Blackhawk sat in the center of the helipad, rotors still spinning. The side door opened. A figure jumped down. Military uniform. Stars on the shoulders, General. He walked toward her. His face was hard, weathered, but his eyes held respect. He stopped 3 feet away, then did something that made Sarah's chest tighten. He saluted. Sharp. Precise. The salute reserved for superior officers. Colonel Mitchell, he said, his voice cutting through the rotor noise. It's been a long time. Sarah didn't return the salute. Didn't move. 3 years, General Hammond. I thought I made myself clear. I'm done. I know what you said. But your country needs you. My country has other soldiers, not like you. Behind Hammond, 2 more figures emerged from the helicopter, both in suits. High-ranking one was a woman with gray hair and sharp features. The other was a man with an eye patch. CIA. Definitely CIA. You've met Marcus Webb, Hammond continued. The man you saved tonight. He's part of something bigger. A network we've been tracking for 2 years. International. Dangerous. They're trafficking more than weapons. They're trafficking intelligence. Selling secrets to the highest bidder. And you want me to do what exactly? What you do best. Go invisible. Get inside. Take them down. I have a life here. You have a cover here? There's a difference. Sarah's hands clenched. I saved that man because he was my patient. That's all. You saved him because you're a warrior. You always have been. Tonight proved you can't hide from that. Watch me. Sarah turned to walk away. They know who you are now, Hammond called after her. The people who sent those men tonight, they'll come back. And next time, it won't be 7. It'll be 70. Sarah stopped. They'll hit you here. At the hospital, where there are patients, families, children. Hammond's voice was hard. You can walk away, but they can't. Sarah stood at the door, hand on the handle. Behind her, the helicopter's rotors spun, waiting. Below her, the hospital hummed, patients sleeping, nurses working, Jennifer checking vitals, Dr. Reynolds filing reports, all of them. Vulnerable because of her, she turned around. Hammond was standing there, still at attention. One mission, Sarah said. I go in, I get them, then I'm done. For real this time, agreed. This hospital gets protection. Full federal coverage. No exceptions. Already arranged. Sarah walked back toward him. Each step felt heavier than the last. She stopped in front of the general. And finally, after 3 years, she returned his salute. When do I leave? She asked. 48 hours. The helicopter lifted off. Sarah stood on the roof, watching it disappear into the pre-dawn sky. The wind settled. The silence felt heavy. She turned and walked back inside. Down the corridor. Into the elevator. When the doors opened on the 3rd floor, Dr. Stone was waiting.
Oh.
I saw the general salute you. Sarah walked past him. You should go home, Dr. Stone. It's been a long night. He followed her. I've been in medicine for 30 years. I've seen a lot. But I've never seen anything like tonight. Those men were professionals, killers, and you took them down like it was nothing. I got lucky. It wasn't luck. That was training. Elite training. Paused. Who are you really? Sarah stopped at the nurse's station. Started filling out patient charts. Normal, routine. I work nights. I do my job, that's a lie. She looked up. Met his eyes. It's the only answer I can give you. Stone studied her for a long moment, then nodded slowly. The patients on this floor, they're safe because of you. Whatever else you are, you're a damn good nurse. He walked away. Sarah finished the charts. Checked on each patient. Mrs. Anderson in 3-4 stable. Mr. Cho in 347, sleeping peacefully. The new admission in 310. Comfortable. Everything normal. Everything quiet, like the last 6 hours hadn't happened. But in the staff room, Reynolds was still there, sitting. Staring at the wall, Sarah poured 2 cups of coffee. Sat down across from him. You should talk to someone, she said. Employee assistants. They'll have counselors available. I don't need a counselor. I need an explanation. I can't give you one. Can't or won't. Both. Reynolds laughed. Hollow. Tired. I've been a doctor for 15 years. Tonight was the first time I've had a gun pointed at me. The first time I've seen real violence. And you handled it like you've done it 1,000 times. Sarah didn't respond. How many times have you done it? Reynolds asked. How many times have you fought? Killed. I've never killed anyone in this hospital. That's not what I asked. Sarah set down her coffee. Dr. Reynolds, you're a good surgeon. You saved a man's life tonight. Focus on that. How can I just go back to normal after this? Because that's what we do. We show up, we do our jobs. We save lives. The rest is just noise. Reynolds shook his head. I can't stop seeing it. You move so fast, so precise, like a completely different person. I am a different person here in this hospital. Sarah's voice was quiet. This is where I chose to be. This is who I want to be. But it's not who you are. Sarah stood. It's who I'm trying to be. She left the staff room. The shift was ending. Morning nurses were arriving. The day shift. Jennifer found her in the locker room.
Sarah, are you okay?
Everyone's talking about what happened. They said you were a hero. I was just doing my job. But the FBI said the FBI says a lot of things. Sarah pulled on her jacket. You did great tonight, Jennifer. Staying calm. Following instructions. I'm proud of you. Jennifer blushed. I was terrified. That's okay. Courage isn't about not being scared. It's about doing what's right anyway. Is that what you did? Sarah smiled. Sad. Tired. That's what I tried to do. She left the hospital. The morning sun was rising. Pink and orange across the sky. Her car was still in the parking lot. She sat inside. Didn't start the engine. 40-8 hours. In 48 hours, she'd leave this life. Again. Step back into the world she'd tried to escape, the world of shadows. Operations. Enemies with no faces. Her phone buzzed. A text from an encrypted number. Briefing at 1400 hours. Safe house location attached. Come alone. Sarah stared at the message. Then deleted it. She drove home. A small apartment. Quiet. Clean. Simple. No photos on the walls. No personal items. Nothing that connected her to her past. She'd learned to live light. To keep no attachments. Because attachments were vulnerabilities. She showered. Changed clothes. Tried to sleep, but the memories came back. They always did. Kandahar. The mission that made her reputation. 12 hostages. An impossible extraction. She'd gone in alone. Brought them all out. Yemen, the chemical weapons facility. She'd infiltrated. Gathered intelligence. Destroyed the stockpile before it could be moved. She thought about her past. The big rescue in the sand. 12 prisoners. No one thought she could do it, but she did. She went alone and saved them all. Then came the dangerous lab. Deadly weapons inside. She snuck in. Got the proof? Blew it up before they shipped it out. There were more jobs after that. Each one harder than the last. Each one in a new place. Too many fights. Too many times she almost died. Too many secrets locked inside her head. Then came the bad one. The job that went sideways? One mistake. One person dead because of her. That day changed everything. She quit. Turned in her badge. Walked away from it all. She became Sarah Mitchell. A nurse working nights. Nobody special. Nobody dangerous, but tonight showed her the truth. There was no escape. Not for someone like her. Her phone rang. She did not know the number. She picked up anyway. Colonel Mitchell. Woman's voice. The same woman from the helicopter. She worked for the agency. Do not call me that. Sorry. Force of habit. I am Director Sarah Vance. Special Division. We need to discuss your assignment. I did not say yes yet. Did. When you saluted the general, you are already back in. What do you want from me? The people who tried to kill Marcus Webb tonight. They call themselves the Syndicate. They sell weapons. But now they sell something worse. Secrets. Government files. Military plans. They sell to anyone with money. Bad people. Dangerous groups. Enemy countries. You want me to go undercover? I want you to shut them down. For good? How far in do I go? Silence. Then the answer. All the way. New name, new past, new everything. You will be gone 6 months. Maybe more? 6 months? The Syndicate has people everywhere. In our military, in our government, even in law enforcement. We cannot trust anyone. We need someone clean, someone with your skills. There are other agents, not like you. You disappear. You blend in. And you were a combat medic before special ops. That is your ticket in. Tell me more. Syndicate runs private medical clinics. High-end, secret. They fix up hired guns, criminals, people who cannot walk into a normal hospital. We need eyes inside. Someone who can find their clients. Learn their secrets. Then burn it all down. Sarah closed her eyes. You want me to go back to nursing? It's perfect disguise. Natural, real. You will not need to pretend. Except about who I really am. You have done this before. I was younger then, so now I know the price. Her voice sounded hollow. I know what this takes from you. You will pay it anyway. You know why? The Syndicate has plans for nuclear bombs, chemical poison, deadly diseases. If they sell to terrorists, millions of people die. That is not fair. It's not a game, Colonel. This is life and death, and only you can stop them. Sarah walked to her window, stared at the streets below. Regular people down there, living normal lives, lives she had to protect. Again, "Okay," she said, "I will do it. But I have conditions. Name them." Full protection for the hospital. Armed guards. Round the clock. Until I finish this job. Done. What else? Jennifer Kwan. She works nights with me. She is good. She is young. If I do not come back, you take care of her. Pay for her school. Give her benefits. Agreed. And Dr. Reynolds. He knows too much now. Keep him safe. Already handled. Sarah took a deep breath. When does this start? Tomorrow afternoon? 2 o'clock. We will build your new identity. New background. New life. Who will I be? A nurse. Trauma expert. Former military medic. Looking for contractor work. That is how they find people. And Sarah Mitchell. Gone. You will be on leave. Family emergency. Nobody will ask questions. The hospital will want to know. We'll tell them you had to go. Family crisis. You left quickly. It happens all the time. Something broke inside her chest. The life she made, the peace she found, all of it vanishing. Again. I need to say goodbye, she said softly. No, too dangerous. You just leave. That is the rule. I know the rule, but I need this. One real moment before I put on the mask again. Director Vance went quiet, then spoke. You have 24 hours. Use them wisely. The call ended. Sarah checked her watch. Almost 7 in the morning one day. 24 hours to say goodbye to a life that was never really hers. 2 people who never knew the real her. One day before she became a ghost again, she grabbed her coat, walked out the door, back to the hospital. One final time. The federal agents secured the building floor by floor. Sarah watched from the nurse's station. Her scrubs were still damp from the sprinklers. Jennifer emerged from the staff lounge. Her eyes were red from crying. Sarah, are you okay? I heard gunshots, and then the alarms, and I'm fine. Everyone's safe. But what happened? Who were those men? Before Sarah could answer, 3 agents in suits approached. The lead agent was tall, sharp eyes. FBI windbreaker. We need to speak with you, he said to Sarah. Privately, Jennifer looked between them, confused, scared. Go check on the patients, Sarah told her gently. Make sure everyone's calm. Jennifer nodded. Hurried away, Sarah followed the agents to an empty conference room. They closed the door. That was impressive work, the lead agent said. 7 hostiles. No casualties. I did what was necessary. But you did more than that. He paused. Colonel Mitchell. Sarah's expression didn't change. I haven't used that rank in 3 years. But you still have it. And clearly you still have the skills. The patient. Who is he? The agent pulled out a tablet. Showed her a photo. The man on the operating table. Military uniform. High decoration. Colonel Marcus Webb. Army intelligence. He was tracking a weapons network. Got too close. They tried to kill him tonight. Why here? Why my hospital? Because you're here. He knew if things went wrong, you'd be his best chance. Webb knows who I am. Knows of you. Your reputation. You're a legend, Colonel. I'm a nurse now. You're both. The conference room door opened. Another agent entered. Young, nervous. Sir, we have a situation. There's a helicopter landing on the roof. Military. Blackhawk. Everyone froze. What's their identification? The lead agent asked. The young agent swallowed. They said they're here for the colonel. All eyes turned to Sarah. She closed her eyes. Took a breath. I need to go to the roof, she said quietly. The elevator climbed. 3, 4, 5, 6. Sarah pushed through the roof access door. Wind whipped her hair. The Blackhawk sat in the center of the helipad, rotors spinning. The side door opened. A figure jumped down. Military uniform. Stars on the shoulders, General? He walked toward her. His face was hard, weathered, but his eyes held respect. He stopped 3 feet away, then saluted, sharp, precise. "Colonel Mitchell," he said. "It's been a long time." Salute didn't return the salute. 3 years, General Hammond. "I thought I made myself clear. I'm done. Your country needs you. My country has other soldiers, not like you." Behind Hammond, 2 more figures emerged from the helicopter, both in suits, high-ranking. "The man you saved tonight is part of something bigger," Hammond continued. "A network we've been tracking. International. Dangerous. They're trafficking intelligence. Selling secrets. And you want me to do what? What you do best. Go invisible. Get inside. Take them down. I have a life here. You have a cover here. There's a difference." Sarah's hands clenched. "I saved that man because he was my patient. That's all. You saved him because you're a warrior. Tonight proved you can't hide from that. Watch me." Sarah turned to walk away. "They know who you are now," Hammond called. "The people who sent those men, they'll come back. And next time it won't be 7. It'll be 70. They'll hit you here, at the hospital, where there are patients, families, children." Sarah stopped. "You can walk away, but they can't." Sarah stood at the door, hand on the handle. Behind her, the helicopter waited. Below her, the hospital hummed. Patients sleeping. Nurses working, all of them vulnerable because of her. She turned around. Hammond was standing there, still at attention. "One mission," Sarah said. "I go in, I get them, then I'm done." "Agreed. And this hospital gets protection. Full federal coverage already arranged." Sarah walked back. Each step felt heavier. She stopped in front of the general, and finally, after 3 years, she returned his salute. "When do I leave?" 48 hours. The hospital was different in daylight. Sarah walked through the main entrance one last time. Jennifer was still there. End of shift. Exhausted. "Sarah, what are you doing back?" "I needed to check on something." He stood in the quiet corridor. Sarah wanted to say something, to tell Jennifer she'd been a good nurse, but the words stuck. Dr. Reynolds found her in the hallway. "You're leaving, aren't you?" Sarah's silence was answer enough. "I knew it. That wasn't just a random attack. I can't talk about it. We never saw it. We treated you like you were invisible. That's what I wanted. Because this is real. Patience. Medicine. Helping people. That's simple. Out there, nothing is clear." Reynolds reached out, shook her hand. "Thank you. For everything. Take care of Jennifer. She's going to be great." "I will. I promise." At the safe house, Director Vance was waiting. So was General Hammond and a team of specialists. "Welcome back," Colonel Hammond said. For the next 3 hours, they briefed her. The network structure, their operations, their medical facility in North Africa, her new identity, Dr. Sarah Cross, combat medic, dishonorable discharge. Exactly what they looked for. New passport, new credentials, new background. "You'll make contact in the coastal city," Vance explained. "They're recruiting. You apply. You get hired. You work your way up, and then you find their client list, their weapons cache, their command structure. Send it all to us. What's my extraction plan? When you have everything, you signal. We come in, and if I'm compromised?" Vance met her eyes. "Then you survive. 0600. They loaded her into an SUV, silent. Professional, they were pulling out when another vehicle appeared. A taxi. Someone got out. Dr. Stone, the chief of surgery. He walked toward the SUV. Sarah stepped out. "I called the hospital," he said. They told me you were on leave, but I didn't believe it. Dr. Stone, you need to go home. Can't, because I need to tell you something. Last night, you were the only calm thing in the building. The only person who knew what to do. You're the kind of person who runs toward danger while everyone else runs away. Sarah's throat tightened. Whatever you're about to do, wherever you're going, I want you to know that the hospital was better because you were there. Thank you. Dr. Stone, when you come back, there's a position waiting for you. Head of emergency trauma. Day shift. No more hiding. I'll think about it. Stone nodded, then stopped, turned, and saluted. Not military perfect, but respectful. Honest, Sarah returned it. Sharp. Precise. Stone got in the taxi. Drove away at the airport. They loaded her onto a military transport. Cold, empty. General Hammond stood at the ramp. Good luck, Colonel. Come back alive. That's the plan, General. But she boarded the plane. Found a seat. Strapped in. The ramp closed. The engines roared. The plane lifted off. Through the window, Sarah watched the city disappear. Somewhere down there was a hospital, a locker with her street clothes, a life she'd tried to build. She closed her eyes. Let the vibration dull her thoughts. She was Sarah Mitchell, night shift nurse, invisible, underestimated, and Colonel Alexandra Mitchell, elite operative. Ghost. Both. Always both. She couldn't escape either half. So she carried them both, the healer and the warrior. It was her burden, her gift, her curse. The plane climbed higher, into the clouds. Into the unknown. Sarah reached into her pocket, found her hospital badge. Sarah Mitchell, night shift, RN. She held it for a moment, then tucked it back. Close to her heart, she'd come back. Someday, when the mission was over, she'd come back to that quiet hospital, to those quiet nights, to the life she chose. But first, she had work to do. Dangerous work. Dark work. The kind that kept people safe. The kind only someone like her could do. A soldier came back with a briefing packet. Colonel Mitchell, your mission details. Sarah took the packet, opened it. Read. Dr. Sarah Cross, combat medic. The cover that would take her into the network, into the darkness. She memorized every detail, every lie, every piece of the new person she'd become. And somewhere, deep inside Sarah Mitchell, the nurse whispered a promise. I'll come back. To the hospital. To the patients. To the life that's real. I'll come back. But first, there was a war to fight, and Sarah Mitchell had never lost a war. She wasn't about to start now. The plane flew east, toward the mission, toward the target, toward the fight. And in a hospital thousands of miles behind, the night shift began. Patients were treated. Lives were saved. Nurses worked quietly in the shadows, just like always, just like she taught them. The way it should be,